Hello everyone, welcome to this week's vlog. This week I just wanted to talk about a meltdown that happened. I say meltdown, that's an unfair word to use, and actually that's the reason I'm doing this episode. Oh, actually, I'll leave that on. It's because Dan Harmon, the writer and creator of Community and Rick and Morty, not really creator, but you know, he was involved. Yeah, he had a little bit of a good time, I'd say. I call it a good time on Twitter, and I always think when people do stuff like this, to me it looks like a good time. Because all they're doing is they're just letting go. I know it's probably dubious because sometimes when someone does something on social media and they look like they're acting out and being crazy and da-da-da, it can obviously sometimes lead to them having to go to some place to get their head sorted out, which is fine. I'm thinking of Amanda Burns for some reason. Bynes? How do you say it? Burns? Bynes? Her, the one from She's the Man, where she did have a whole thing on Twitter and da-da-da. And I believe my sister said that she actually tweeted saying, "I want Drake to murder my vagina," which I don't know how I'd feel if someone said that about me. At least I'd feel weird because the terminology is very but at the same time it's like you want me so bad that you'd happily let me like kill your genitals. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Although when I flip it round, if I look at someone and I say, "Excuse me, I'd want her to, like, screw my dick off," it's not cool. It's not a cool thing to say. It's not. It's not acceptable at all. I don't like it. But no, I find it funny how people see celebrities having what they call meltdowns, as I put it, and, you know, they're breaking down, they're going on a tirade of abuse on Twitter and stuff. Because actually what I see is them literally breaking out of their cage. Now, what I've come to understand, and this has happened recently for me, even though I was kind of aware of it when I started doing this and up to now, is that there is only so much you should let people know about your life. There really is. I know that should it come to a stage where I really do have to be private about what goes on with me, which in a way I hope it does, because obviously that means that, you know, I'm getting somewhere with my videos and stuff, then that level of pressure to keep that kind of amount of privacy can weigh you down. Now, I understand there's a reason that there's a whole industry called personal relations. There's a whole thing about how you put yourself forward, how you present yourself to the public. Now, it's fine if you're already seemingly a cool fucking guy like Johnny Depp, for example, where you just like, yeah, whatever, I can be and do whatever I want because whatever. Or say Dave Grohl, for example, who again, he just comes across a cool guy, unless, of course, it just so happens, and I know this might be a little bit mean to say, but it may just so happen that he's just very, very good at knowing what to do at the right time. It's very hard to find him doing bad things because he already knows. Of course, he could well be, and this is more likely that he's just naturally a fucking great guy, which is a much better story, and I find that much more appealing. But I still have my moments of like, the same thing with Beyonce, for example. She puts on this air of perfection and wonder, which I find hilarious because she's all like, "Yay, women, feminism, power to the ladies," and then she spends a hell of a lot of effort coming across as absolutely perfect, which everyone puts her on this pedestal to be, when I'm like, surely this is a bad standard to try and get people to live to, perfection. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of pressure for people to just hold it together, like to have to kind of put all of their personal energy and something into stuff they do, whereas out in the big wide world they can't just be themselves. They can't literally just be the guy who is an asshole, the guy who does tell people to fuck off or whatever. For example, Kanye West, who basically is an obnoxious prick, but he's just doing him, he's just being himself, and everyone fucking hates him about it, which again I'm like, well, I'd rather he was that than constantly trying to hide that he was a dick, like, because otherwise, you know, everyone would be really fucking disappointed. Let's be honest, everyone would be like, "Oh man, he was one of the good guys. Damn, at least now we know, from now on forever, like, he's just an obnoxious prick, so it's cool. Yeah, it's fine." Yeah, and that's all, to me, it's kind of an unfortunate thing. So I have moments where I actually have a vlog that I did, and you're never going to see it, about 4 weeks ago, where I got quite drunk. I had like a bottle and a half of wine, maybe 2 beers, and I suddenly got it in my head, and I was like, do you know what? I want to say some shit. I want to say some shit. So I got on the computer, and I got everything set up, drunk, and I was sat there, and I'm not even joking, I actually filled up a glass like this much with whiskey in it, which I finished, and just started ranting. I just went off on one. I'm not even going to tell you about what. I just got really like passionate. And thankfully at that point I wasn't so drunk that I actually edited it. It was ready to be posted, but before I posted it I was like, sleep on this, Dan. And thankfully I did, because the next day I woke up, watched it, and I was like, that's never going out. No. But it's clear that there is this element of like wanting to just let go, wanting to go off on one, and certainly when you have this platform of, you know, exposure to the world, you're like, I can actually go around and everyone's going to hear it, everyone's going to see it, and that's what I want. I want everyone to see this rant that I'm going to go on. I really want everyone to see it, because I just want to let it out. I just want to vent. Basically, I'm fed up of having to hide it all. I'm fed up of having to, you know, do things as people say, and, you know, having to not say this because they might think a certain way, because that's the complete opposite of what we all tell each other to do. We all tell each other, be real, say what you feel, you know, don't hide anything, be yourself, be an individual. And then all the time, all these celebrities are like, no, don't say that. I know you want to say it, but don't say that, because that's not, that everyone's going to hate you for that. Don't do that. And they're just like, well, fucking, what's the point then? What is the point? So I look at Dan Harmon going nuts. I haven't even seen it. It's apparently I saw some of the quotes, basically, and it doesn't even look that bad. He looks like he did just get drunk, and he's just got a little bit, like, feisty with some people, like, wordy. He's not being really, really angry and aggressive and horrible, but he might have just been having a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, I could probably see myself at some point, maybe, unfortunately, coming across as a bit of a dick about some things. Maybe. You know, I can see it happening. Certainly if I'm in this space where I'm like, oh, I can't say this because meh, I can't say that because meh, you know, it's unfortunate. Of course, there is elements where you definitely can't say certain things. Not these things I wouldn't say anyway, but there are certain things obviously you just wouldn't say in the general public, because that would genuinely be fucking stupid. But just saying, having certain opinions about certain things that aren't, you know, deep political issues or deep social political issues, like, you know, just stuff like that. Because I imagine someone like Dan Harmon, who writes shows like Community and Rick and Morty, I'm not surprised at all that a guy like that, who can write a character like Rick, isn't, like, in some way frustrated about something. Because Rick's character there's a desperation within Rick's character that I'd watch, and I just feel for him. You do feel for him. Everyone got upset about that one episode where Rick did the thing at the end of the episode. I don't want to spoil it, because I think you should watch it. And it is crushing, and it makes you feel something different about Rick. I still feel that Rick, on the whole, is an asshole, but when you write an asshole that well, you know, and you're able to write such a huge dick and somehow make an arsehole seem like a good guy, like someone to look up to. You know what I mean? I think the same about like Walter White, who is, again, he's a fucking arsehole, but somehow everyone's like, yay, Walter, what an anti-hero, woo! And I'm like, how do you get away with writing this guy? How do you do it so well where you write someone who clearly is an absolute prick? You'd never want to know them, but somehow you've written them perfectly so that everyone likes them. What is that? There's like, yeah, I in my head I'm just like, you know too much about being an asshole. You know a lot about a lot of stuff, which is great, but you also know a lot about being an asshole, and you've written them very well. So that makes me wondering, you know, where is that asshole? And boom, there he is. Look at that. He's on Twitter abusing people. Everyone's shocked about it. Everyone's like, oh my god, Dan Harmon's being mean. No! Like, can't you see it? Why can't you see that? He writes assholes. Of course, there's got to be some element of him hidden away somewhere where he knows how to be a dick. And I kind of admire him for that. I do. I think it's awesome because he's writing. They always say, write what you know, or create what you know, do what you know. Because obviously you can't, you couldn't write a show about space if you've never even understood what a star is or what space is. You can't. You wouldn't be able to, really. A good show, certainly. You know, don't try and write about mythology if you've never picked up a book on mythology, because everyone's going to call you out and be like, you don't know shit. What are you writing this for? This is clearly nothing based on any kind of academic study that you've done, and it might fall apart. So you have to give them credit. That's why the writers of Archer get so much credit for what they do, because I mean, any comedy writer, because they know comedy. That's why they do it, right? You wouldn't find someone. I've seen material that someone. In fact, I saw a post. Someone tried to do a copy of a South Park episode, trying to get a job as, I think it was an animator or a writer. I can't remember which one, but he actually wrote and animated a South Park episode, and to me, it completely missed the mark. And you could tell that he'd been a fan of South Park, but the way that he consumed South Park was a very face value level. It was extremely shallow, and actually quite misguided, to be honest. I felt, and you could just tell, and from that you can just get an idea of how this person is and how they consume things. And so you could just see, just from that episode alone, you could just see how that didn't really fit. And so no, when celebrities do have some of these moments, I'm actually kind of cheering for them myself, because I'm like, good, let it out, buddy. You've held it in for this long because that's your job, that's what you get paid to do, sure. But everyone needs an opportunity. Just let that shit go. Just let it out. Just fucking do it. You know, if you want to call someone a dick, call them a dick. Fuck, like, yeah, literally. I mean, okay, maybe people won't cheer along with you, but maybe you don't need that. Maybe you just want to let it out. Maybe you just want to release it. And I imagine someone like Dan Harmon, who writes shows like he does, needs that. Definitely. And certainly the public eye, just tell people to fuck off. Just fuck off. I'm trying to think of other people who've done it, and I've cheered them on, and I can't remember. I am trying to think. But I've not been surprised about it at all. I think there was actually a... what was it? This wasn't really a personal thing to them, but I know that there was a games review company who did a video about behaviour of gamers and how entitled and spoiled they seem and how whiny they are and stuff. And again, I was like, yeah, do you know what? Yeah, absolutely. It's bang on. And I know that wasn't necessarily a celebrity and stuff, but obviously they had a obligation as such, because obviously they rely on the reputation of their site and their performance, and that performance is based on how their viewers see them and how their users see them. So they do have to be careful. The cat's just vomited. Thanks, Gomez. Cheers. Thank you. Literally just vomited on the ottoman. Stop eating shit. I just don't. We feed you so well, and you're not going to do it again, are you? No. Right. Not even guilty. Oh god, it stinks. Oh, bleh. Oh fuck. That's disgusting. Oh, but obviously they then have to deal with gamers who basically, you know, whine and seem entitled, and then make comments and blast people and put people, you know, up on this like on the crucifix to shout about how lazy they might seem, or how shitty they are as a developer, or how fucking, you know, greedy they are, blah 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 blah, and all this stuff. And the IGN video was basically like, you have no idea, you don't know what goes on in the scenes, and it's very easy for you to sit there and make judgments about, you know, what these people do and how hard they work to give you this stuff, and you just literally just blast it because of whatever. And actually, unfortunately, because you can go onto sites and put reviews in, and you can talk about it and leave reviews and, you know, mark it with this 5-star review system, you can actually make a really good product that's been worked hard on by a lot of honest, good people, and make it seem like it was a bag of shit. And, you know, you have this freedom to do that, and you abuse it, and it's basically not fair. And they did actually do this, and I was kind of like, yay! You tell him, buddy. You tell him. Tell him! Because it's not fair. It's not fair at all. And I applauded that. I love it. I love it when celebrities go off the rails a little bit. Not when it's a genuine issue. Not when they really are going through some problems. And it's hard to really tell because they're so separate from, you know, me, obviously, and my life and so on. And it is kind of hard to tell. But I don't think the right thing to do every time a celebrity does something is to immediately go, they've gone fucking crazy, rah, they've gone off the rails. Because all I'm thinking is, well, have they? because they might be fine. But obviously now what's happened is throughout their entire career, they can do everything right. Like if tomorrow Jennifer Lawrence went on Twitter and started saying some horrible stuff, that's it. Like her career is then painted that way for the rest of her life, and I just think that's pathetic, because I'm like, she just had a bad day. You know, well, obviously she probably never would do that. I'm not gonna lie. She doesn't seem like the kind of person who would. But if she did, you know, maybe some people would be disappointed, be like, oh, she was such a sweetheart. Oh, she was so perfect. It's like, well, she's a fucking human being. Like, let her rant. And then tomorrow we can all forget about it and move on. She can continue doing great films and doing great stuff and being a wonderful person that we all look up to. But we can all just be reminded that she's also a fucking human being like the rest of us. We all have meltdowns. We all have moments where we're like, fuck everything. And it happens. Even the people who are deemed perfect. I bet Beyonce had a fucking meltdown at some point. It's just a good thing no cameras around. Otherwise, well, her sister did. Ha! And look what happened there. Poor thing. But thankfully, I guess that was kind of forgotten. And even, you know, again, even Beyonce came out and was like, you know, in a way, I'm glad. I think she said she was glad everyone saw it, because she was able to demonstrate without forcing it that, you know, nothing's perfect. No one is perfect. We can put on this air of perfection, but no, it's not actually perfect. Even though she still continues to try and be perfect, which does bug me. You know, it really, I don't. Yeah, it's a different discussion altogether, but I don't think. While Beyonce is magnificent, and I actually really enjoy her music, I do. I think she's wonderful. I don't feel that she is quite the example to me of oh god, I don't know if I should say this. She's not the example to me. She's not the example, as in the only epitomized example of feminism to me. She is, and certainly in the terms of hardworking and really sticking to her guns and, you know, really representing it, so on. It's just that part where she does give off the air that she is perfect, and she tries so hard to continue this idea, this picture of perfection, because that, to me, it kind of brings the whole issue back round to zero. But that's it. That is a whole different discussion, and I shan't go into it too much anyway. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in another one. If you want to see more, as usual, you know what to do. I can't wait to clean up this cat sick. You fucking... I want to... See, now I want to vent about cats now. I want to talk about cats for a minute. Everyone's like, oh, look how cute she is. Oh, look, it's so adorable. Oh, look, she meowed. Blah, blah, blah. No one wants to fucking talk about the bit where they just, you know, they're sleeping on a fucking bit of luggage 1 second, and then they decide to just fucking vomit on the ottoman near my remote. And now look at you. You're looking at me like, yeah. Like it's nothing. Don't. Arrogant bastard. For shame. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye.